Welcome everyone, ladies and gentlemen, to this amazing webinar which is in front of us, and with the title, very promising one, I have to admit, Integrated Customer Journeys at Scale. There's a lot of talk about customer journeys and how to align them in the proper way. And even better, what we expect today is that we speak about a real case study, a use case coming from LEO Pharma together with Shower Thinking. And really pleased to welcome here today Peter Ran from LEO Pharma. Hi, Peter. How are you?
Great to be here, Dario. Thank you.
And Joaquin Pais, the CEO of Shower Thinking. Very same question to you, Joaquin. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you, Dario. Honored to be here.
Fantastic. So, gentlemen, before we deep dive into our discussion, Joaquin and his team, together, of course, with LEO Pharma, prepared a very nice video. So I will use 3 to 4 minutes to play that video so that the audience can see that video and somehow that we kick off the discussion into the proactive way. So let's start and showcase the video.
To have a real conversation between brand and HCP, you need connected data. A customer-centric strategy is the only approach to deliver personalized experiences. When it comes to the pharmaceutical industry, being able to manage activity across both face-to-face and digital channels is crucial. Now more than ever, healthcare professionals are looking for messages tailored to their situation and needs. Over the last few years, LEO Pharma has been looking to technology and using data to understand audiences and design interactions. HCPs demand quality content relevant for the individual. The recent pandemic has only accelerated an evolution of digital and multi-channel activities at an unprecedented rate. This new digital world of customer engagement represents a big opportunity. The opportunity to add value across strategic interaction points and orchestrate key messages across channel preferences to achieve more impact. LEO Pharma has implemented a global engagement infrastructure where Viva, marketing automation with Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and Sitecore web platforms are connected. With activities in Europe, the United States, and many other countries, they are now focusing on the creation of global content which can be repurposed for multiple channels, such as email, web, and face-to-face or other meetings. The company had 3.6 million interactions with HCPs in Europe in 2021, in what was a remarkable increase when compared to pre-pandemic levels. LEO Pharma is also using its growing ability to track across channels in order to understand healthcare professionals. This new omnichannel analytics strategy is being designed to help and guide commercial activities. New ways of working, tech skills, and a different engagement mindset are needed for this new model. LEO Pharma has engaged with trusted external partners like Shower Thinking to accelerate digital transformation and omnichannel implementation processes. Integrated cross-channel customer journeys are to be implemented at scale, and the focus is to create value little by little and to consolidate the omnichannel model. Change has already started. Let's talk with Peter Ran, one of the key LEO Pharma team members driving this change, to discuss some of the challenges and opportunities being found in this process.
Excellent, I suppose, and I'm pretty much confident that the audience really enjoyed in that amazing video. But let's deep dive into our concrete conversation, and we prepared some very tough questions for Peter, because we are, of course, very, very curious what you have achieved and how you achieved that. So my first question to you, Peter, would be, what are the key drivers behind the LEO Pharma omnichannel transformation process?
Thanks again for inviting me, Dario, and thanks for a really good question. I think a key driver, which is also very dear to my heart, is the needs of the customers, or the how customers like to engage with pharma, and this is really the main driver. Also, long before COVID, that customers, just like you and me, wants to engage digitally. They want to engage in the channel of their choice, and that's why we should engage through Omnichannel with the customers. Of course, also access, maybe due to customers becoming more and more digital, and also for other reasons, is becoming more and more restricted between doctors and pharma, especially in some countries where it's getting really hard. And finally, pharma, even though pharma is a high profit industry, also efficiency is really needed. We cannot afford to send reps to say for any purpose in the future. It has to be where the value is, and when there is value, then it's really the most impactful way to engage. But other channels needs to be part of the mix as well.
Thank you, Peter. Next question.
Allow me also, yes, thank you. Allow me to highlight some points here. When we start to work with the LEO Pharma, it was already 4 years ago. So from my point of view, I think that LEO Pharma has been a visionary in this sector for this whole strategy, multi-channel strategy, and new way of interacting with customers. So I think it's important, and will come through the conversation, because I think that we have here a lot of experience, probably in many pharma companies, as you commented me before this meeting, are going very fast in this kind of new models without enough experience. And I think here that the team of Peter have a lot of experience for many years in getting this milestone and the results that you are having with this interaction with the customers.
Thank you, Joaquin. Next question, Peter. I don't know if you noticed that, but many pharma companies actually struggle by going from traditional to digital, right? So how have you obtained support from the management and of course from LEO in particular to go into that whole transformation process?
First of all, I would say it's not so that LEO isn't struggling as well. LEO has also been in pharma for more than 100 years, and pharma has always been I don't know if it always has, but it has in many years been a profitable industry. And of course, when you're a profitable industry, you don't change too much. And I would also say from pharma, where the traditional sales and marketing is really ingrained in our culture, Omnichannel is a huge step forward. And I think it makes sense to maybe compare Omnichannel to an elephant. We all know that an elephant is a huge animal. And in order to eat an elephant, I think some of us also know that we have to eat it bite by bite. And it's the same for Omnichannel. Omnichannel is a huge transformation. And if we try to do everything, the whole transformation at once, I'm very doubtful that we'll be able to do it. So it's really for me trying to make the transformation step by step, finding good good examples, good elements of our sales and marketing activities where we can exemplify Omnichannel, where we can show that some of the key elements of Omnichannel makes a difference, and then also where we can teach the organization what Omnichannel is, so I think that has been important in getting the support, or not so much getting the support, because Omnichannel is really part of our long-term strategy in LEO and has been for some time. So we know that we need to change our engagement model. So it hasn't been so much about getting senior management support. It's been more about getting the understanding and the skills in the organization.
Thank you, Peter. Joaquin, anything to add? Maybe do you see still the struggle, or does that change with
no, my feeling here is that in this project with Peter, what I feel is that what is working really well is the bottom-up approach. So it's not much of a management decision, but I think that the team of Peter have engaged very well with the local affiliates, the local markets, and they are really convinced that they need to change and they need to advance in this kind of project. A concept that we use very often is the concept of traction. So are the local markets, local marketing teams really asking for more, or you need to continually educate them and push them to this kind of strategy? So I think that what the team of Peter have achieved here is really a nice traction for the local affiliates, and they have a complete buy, you know, for the local affiliates, and I think it's part of the success that we see here in this kind of adoption.
Thank you, Joaquin. Next question, Peter. What are some of the critical omni-channel transformation challenges and activities that are going on at LEO?
Let me highlight three key activities. One, which I think is maybe the most important, is integration of sales and marketing. From my perspective, we cannot do omnichannel if it's led by either marketing or led by either sales. We have to have sales and marketing say, participating in the customer journeys. And we have to have value for sales and marketing coming out of the customer journeys. An example of value for sales could be that a customer journey delivers a hot lead, something to call on for the rep. A value for marketing could be an insight about the physician so that we can improve the way we engage with that physician next time. So integration of sales and marketing is one key element. Another one is to move from quantity to quality and use data to move towards quality of engagement, select the audience of the campaign better than we did in the past. Not do it for everyone, but do it for those whom we believe it's relevant for and who we believe will respond. And then finally, I would say always set objectives for what we do. Set campaign objectives, customer journey objectives, objectives which helps us evaluate if we've been successful or not. And I would say in many cases, we are not as successful as we would like, but it gives us incredibly good learnings. So even though that we may not get as many hot leads or as many click-throughs to a video or whatever we plan for, we learn why we didn't get it, and we can improve next time so that we can say offer something to click on or to engage around, which is becoming more and more valuable for the physician. Because I think this is really the direction we are going, finding say, more and more value for the physicians in the engagement. And we cannot do it without the insights.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So carefully plan your journey for the customer journey, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, it takes time.
Thank you, Peter.
No, one of the, we have a meeting in Barcelona this year, the first time face to face, and one of the points I like it most is that everyone needed to present, I mean, the local affiliates, which is the customer journey, the worst customer journeys that you made in the year, and which are, you know, the learnings, and was really nice, you know, for everyone to expose, saying, okay, we haven't achieved, and I think that these are the reasons. And the conversation after this presentation was really incredible. And for me, a key point, you know, on achieving the next way of results that we see here. Also, for everyone, it was explained a little bit on the video, but I think that the way of structuring the campaigns, some of them are for more awareness and getting a major audience, but here at LEO they are structured also for getting this better knowledge and best interaction together with the field force, and this is one of the factors I think that are working really nice here. Dario.
Thank you, Joaquin. Let's remain with you, and I have a very intriguing question which I thought about some day ago when I prepared for the webinar, which is what are the emerging profiles needed to understand a more tech-enabled world?
Wow, this is a big question. I think my feeling, you know, in moving also when I moved back also here to Europe, I thought that I see that the same situation that exists in the United States with a major shortage in Canada, with a major shortage of human resources, and specific in this industry, will happen also in Europe. It's a matter of probably months here. So this is something that we need to seriously consider. Also the consultancies and also the customers, everyone in the industry. And from my point of view, we see a major shift or major change. in the profiles, at least what we are asking, at what we see that everyone is asking in the industry. Before, it was a more agnostic technology, having a better knowledge. And my feeling is that different customers and companies and agencies are asking more and more for a specific technology knowledge behind. Obviously, we are a Salesforce partner, and we are very hard on trying to improve in this area. But I see that generally speaking, knowing the technology is not anymore enough. So you need to really have a deep knowledge on a specific technology. Could be a different one from Salesforce, whatever you choose, but really be knowledgeable in this technology more and more.
Thank you, Joaquin. Next question for you, Peter, which is how are you working to ensure adoption of the new omnichannel model across the organization? That's a pretty much tough one, and I'm sure that the audience really is wondering that segment.
No, you're right. It's a difficult one, but and it's also a very relevant one, Dario. It's and again, we sort of tend to think that we all should embrace or buy into omnichannel when working in sales and marketing of pharma now, because we know that we have to, because our customers expect it and our management expect it. But at the same time, I'm not really sure that we should aim to get everybody to embrace and adopt to omnichannel. Many of our colleagues come from, has been working with pharma for many years, have maybe become a pharma rep because they like to the personal engagement with the physician, they like the independence, they like the relationship, and they find it difficult to do that through an email. But at the same time, I think we should, of course, work to get people on board, to find their roles, to see the benefit, because I honestly think that omnichannel has benefits for all of us in the way we can get better in working with the physicians and promoting our brands. But again, I think we should do it step by steps. We should rather get some good learning, some good upskilling from smaller projects with some people in the beginning. And then when we can start getting key people on board, seeing the benefits from the sales side or marketing side, medical side, regulatory side, then I'm convinced that the rest of the organization will also start seeing the benefits. And then having people, as we, for example, use shower thinking, working with us to say help support with the affiliates about how do we do things in the right way if we don't have the skills locally. So that's also, there's many elements of this say journey of transformation.
Certainly. Maybe just to add, partnering is, I would say, something where pharma is not used to, right? But it's very good that at LEO you are very open. And you know the necessity of partnering with appropriate and compatible companies, right?
Well, it's clear. Just one additional comment, Daria, because you're absolutely right. Partnering is very important because we are not a technical. We are a very technical organization when it comes to developing new drugs and getting them through the approval processes and so on. But when it comes to using technology in sales and marketing, that's not really our stronghold. And I think it's really important that we find partners who can supplement us where we have our weak points. And that is, for example, about some of the technical solutions which are becoming more and more technical for us. So having reliable partners is very important for us.
Thank you, Peter. Joaquin, anything to add here?
Yeah, and something that we discussed in one of our calls, Dario. My point is the next. I see that the industry is in this moment is considering, okay, this kind of technologies, the whole marketing automation, the whole multichannel. I've sent so many emails and I still haven't sell anything more. You know, this is the overall reaction in the industry. That needs to be considered more carefully, this kind of approach. And what I basically mean that when we see some customers, we check that the kind of interactions that they have set up with the customer are very basic. They haven't evolved, in different kind of really multi-channel approach kind of things, and they just stay in a basic digital communication using the email as it was before the pandemic. I also hear a lot now in the pharma sector that there is too much email. My suggestion is that we have already a lot of email on 2018, on 2019, before the pandemic. So here the key point is to consider to implement which are the best practice in the industry, and as Peter commented, to really integrate the sales channel with these digital strategies and evolve from this point. So it was a little bit of criticism about the industry and this kind of very quick results that you are having during the pandemic, and have a more overall view, zoom out a little bit and saying, okay, it was already too many emails before the pandemic. Don't expect that even during the pandemic you were going to achieve a better result just using the email. You need to evolve and understand better your customers.
Exactly, I fully agree with you. Peter, next question. How does LEO make use of cross-functional teams on projects involving marketeers, sales, and medical teams, especially medical teams, because it's getting very, very hot topic nowadays, right?
You're right. And I think that you say working cross-functionally is another must. It always makes things a little more complicated when we have, you say, a big team involved in planning projects, planning activities with our customers. But there's no way around it. We have as a requirement for when we do, you say, project briefs for what we call the cross-channel customer journeys, that it is a cross-functional, say, planning process, so that we get, you say, the understanding across the cross-functional team, and also the learnings across the cross-functional team. Because there's nothing as good as, you say, setting an objective and then checking how did it go, what was the reason why we didn't perform as we should, what was the reason why we performed better than expected. So getting these learnings cross-functionally, I think, is important. And also we all know that, for example, the approval process is really challenging, of approval of content when it comes to campaign in pharma. And therefore it's very important that medical, regulatory, and so on also are involved in the right you say, parts of the project. Not everybody needs to be part of everything, but they need to be part of defining the project. They need to be part of learning from the project, and then of course fulfill the different roles in the process.
Thank you, Peter. Joaquin, anything to add?
Maybe, sorry again for interrupting, but maybe I said medical, regulatory, I think also sales, because of course sales is typically not always a part of our, you say, campaign planning, because they are on the road, and they should be. But it is important if they have, you say, an outcome or a role to play in the customer journey, that they're also briefed, and that we listen to them, and then they understand, you say, what's their role, how do we follow up, and also what's the value for me, or how do I react if it doesn't create value for me, because then we need to change. Thanks.
Thank you. Joaquin, anything to add here?
Well, for us, this cross-functional team is really a challenge. From our side, from the agency side, you need to consider that for some of these projects, we need to put in place some architects in health cloud projects, or integrating with Sitecore websites, or even the campaign operation is coming from very low levels, probably in summer in Europe, to a peak for launching more than 20-25 campaigns per month in some month during the year. So we are trying to support as the best as we can to LEO from the cross-functional teams, but from the technical side, because you need very different profiles in terms of consultants, architects, developers, specialists, and also working with different third parties In some of these campaigns, there are really a lot of companies involved, from creative companies to different LEO Pharma specialists or business units together with us and even other vendors. So we're trying to orchestrate as the best as we can and provide them support in this all this challenging situation.
Thank you, Joaquin. And let's remain with you with another question, which is, what are the next steps for pharma companies, which you see as a solution vendor partner, that are pioneers in digital transformation and omnichannel strategy?
Well, my overall comment here is that some companies are trying to go very fast, over this race. We still need to set some ground and understand really which is the benefit and the value for the different affiliates, how we provide value for this marketing and sales team. And having said that, we see a lot of requests or advance in these more advanced projects. When we were speaking before about this next best action, how we interact better within the digital channels and the sales reps, and really using the artificial intelligence, not in the way it was mentioned some years before, just for the sake of using the technology, but with more on a results base and based on the experience for real projects. I think that over this year we have a lot of these kind of projects.
Thank you, Joaquin. Back to you, Peter. We all know we are going in some way of new normal, next normal, whatever you would like to call it. And I would say that field force activities are intensively going back again as in times of pre-COVID. But how can this activity coexist with the evolution of these new digital channels which we implemented during COVID?
Absolutely right. It is going back to close to normal in some countries and still far from normal in I think in some, especially Northern European countries. But I would say that it definitely has to coexist. The face-to-face relationship between the rep and the physician is a must. Physicians like human beings, they like relationships, they like to see people they know, and I think it's reps and their engagement with the physician is one of the most valuable parts of the omnichannel strategy. So we should just use it wisely. We should use it when it makes most sense for the customers, where it makes most sense, and for the message where it makes most sense. So I see it as a key component going forward for sure. And this is exactly what I mean when I say let's integrate sales and marketing. Let's use sales when we should use sales, and let's use other channels when it's possible or more relevant.
Joaquin, anything to add here?
Well, for me, based on the experience from other customers, I see that the non-visited customers, there are different pharma kind of companies, but the non-visited one is there's a lot of thought behind which will be the best strategy. So as Peter mentioned, in the existing customers, of course, is the best adaptation, but what will happen in the non-visited one? And even for some other customer, we see some kind of innovation in the pharma industry, even launching e-commerce channels. Obviously not for HCPs. I'm speaking more for pharmacists channels, but even some companies, we are in some pilot projects launching e-commerce. So it's a big innovation here, and I think that there's still some innovation that will come over the years.
Thank you, Joaquin. Back to you, Peter, which is what is your approach when it comes to data and metrics? Does the new approach differ from the previous one which we had before COVID?
I think it does change, Dario. We, as I think most other companies, also have challenges of integrating data between our different platforms. Even though we have integration, it's just difficult to get a fully integrated view of the customer. But I think we can also, until we have that, we can also do a lot with what we have. We are now starting to use a lot of historical data when we plan our activities. If a customer has never opened an email, why should we continue to send him or her emails? If a customer likes to go to webinars with us, why shouldn't we offer them more webinars? And when it comes to reporting, where we until quite recently sort of had a wealth of data, engagement data, we could see how much we did and with whom we did it. Now we are moving towards, say, scoring the individual physician in the engagement with LEO on the purchase ladder, brand adoption ladder, and getting the outcomes from the different activities so that we can score them better and better and know where they are in relation to LEO and how we can say change their, what's the next step in order to change their behavior towards where we would like them to be.
Thank you, Peter. Joaquin, anything to add on that?
Not really here. I see a lot of maturity over the years and the experience that we have together. I see that some of the points has evolved over the years for more basic to more mature and based on previous years and previous campaigns. And we see that they are evolving. And as Peter commented, also in the terms of metrics, we are moving from more digital ones, like the open rates, like email metrics, I would say, or digital metrics, to more business oriented, like where is this customer in the adoption ladder, for example, or this kind of stuff. Obviously, it's challenging. It's not easy, I would say, but this is I think that this is the direction that Peter wants in this project.
Thank you, Joaquin. Speaking about challenges, what is the main challenge which you are facing at LEO when rolling out an omnichannel approach to 19 European countries?
There's a lot of challenges. I think we have a really strong infrastructure of technology, even though it can still become much stronger. We have a good support behind what we do, but we also have significant challenges, especially when it comes to, again, I mentioned earlier, the approval processes of content. We need to find better ways of, say, for LMR, MLR approval of content. It still takes us too long. Content development in general, we are right now working on say modular content, personalized content, and that transformation also with our global brand teams is something which is going on. I'm quite convinced that we're getting there. There's a lot of interest from our global brand teams, and of course skills in general. I think we all need to learn much more about Omnichannel, get experiences. But it will come if we have patience and urgency. Then we will get it. So we are on the right trajectory, but there's still a lot for us to do.
Thank you, Peter. Joaquin?
Oh, nothing to add here, Daria.
Well, fantastic. And last question, which we prepared for you both panelists, is what has been your most important takeaway from this digital journey and transformation process, which we are still undertaking? Peter?
I think a big learning for me has been learning that technology, I've always said that customer is king, focus on the customer, focus on the patient in pharma, focus on the HCP. But I really think that we need to understand technology and data better than we have done in the past, especially in sales and marketing. Letting somebody else take care of the R&D part. But technology and data to be used in sales and marketing has been a big learning for me that we need to take that really serious right from the planning of the activities. What can we do? What do we have data to support to do? What can our systems help us do? And then I would say another really important learning is that this thing about not looking at omnichannel as this huge elephant, because it scares us. It's too difficult. You sort of lose your motivation and you fail too much. But take it down to tangible projects which are not too complicated, where you get people on board who learn from it, who start to see that we were able to do some of the things which are key of Omnichannel. I think this is a really important learning for me.
Thank you, Peter. Joaquin, yours?
Wow, I think that for me is coming from a more technology view of this problem is all the difficulty for launching a digital campaign here is absolutely different what you see in other sectors. You know, the complexity for having these approvals from everywhere, all the different or business unit for the analytics part, for the COMEX or commercial excellence teams, from the sales reps, from the brand teams, from external agencies, for content providers. All this complexity that is behind is really has been a learning for us. And understanding how to use better this technology. Yeah. So I think that for us has been also, we have been maturing a lot as our thinking as a company, helping LEO in this kind of project. I would say that for other sectors, more evolved multi-channel projects are much more easy. So here is really a challenge, to be honest. Here, my comment here. Dario.
Okay, thank you, Joaquin. We also received a couple of questions from the audience. One which I would like to pick is, how do you combine field force and digital? Or maybe how do you embed the field force and typical sales rep into the whole digital strategy? Maybe, Peter, you can give a very good insight about
that. I think we're all talking quite a lot about the hybrid rep, wanting our reps to be, say, face-to-face as well as digital, and I think that is a transformation that we should continue to support for our reps to become better and better at using digital channels. It'll take a long time for some, it will take less time for others, so that's one element. The other element is when we, for example, do cross-channel customer journeys at the moment, we always make sure we use, say, Viva platform for rep activities, and we use Salesforce for the marketing activities. But we always make sure that when we do an activity, that for example, that there'll be a Viva action for the rep. So if we send an email and the physician wants to hear more, they can request a call. And by doing that, say the rep becomes part of the omni-channel journey. And I think this is a very simple way to do it. In fact, it takes a bit of integration, but it's a simple way, and it's something where suddenly the rep understands that it's not necessarily doing everything differently. It's simply about, say, playing their role in the engagement with the customer alongside the other activities that we do. Hope that answered the question. Otherwise, I'm happy to try to go deeper.
Thank you, Peter. I am satisfied, so I believe the audience is satisfied as well.
Thank you.
Well, for me, I think with the evolution and the maturity of this project, I think that this sector, the pharma companies, will find the exact position for the reps. My just a quick experience. I'm a lover for a brand. The name is Peloton. They are a bike, kind of bike, you know, that you bike at home, and they are a very digital company, absolutely digital. The kind of multi-channel experience is amazing, you know. So I found myself buying a Peloton, and just on the important moment, I have a sales rep. So even my point here is that even the most advanced digital companies at the most important moment, or when it's efficient, they are using sales reps. So this is something important to consider, because I see that in many projects, this multi-channel is seen as a way of evolving from the existing one. or leaving apart, or leaving behind the sales reps. Probably with the maturity of the project, my view is that will come a moment that we will see, or we will decide which is the best position for the reps, providing value, for the HCPs. And well, this is my guess.
Thank you very much. So we came to an end of this very interesting discussion. Peter, Joaquin, was really a great pleasure. We will publish this webinar on our official YouTube channel, so everyone who missed it will have a chance to watch it again a couple of times, I suppose. And once again, thank you so much, and looking for the next one.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dario. Great opportunity. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye, Ben.